Talofa, Bola, Maloelele, Kia ora, Aloha, Kia orana, and welcome to our program Discovering Tangaloa. It's a broadcast from Samoa on Sundays, celebrating Tangaloa, the indigenous spirit god of Samoa and the people of Moana. I thank you for joining me as we return the Tangaloa spirit to its rightful designated place, which is in your soul and my soul. Tangaloa spirit is the indigenous mana. It's that sacred frame of mind. Tangaloa spirit. It's an experience. It's something I'd like to call a divine attitude. It's an attitude. Tangaloa spirit. About 3 weeks ago, on the 7th of November, to be exact, in the year 1918, which is about over a century ago, the deadly Spanish influenza was brought to Samoa via the cargo ship from New Zealand, TAULUNE, and an epidemic spread and killed over 30% of our population. It's the highest number of deaths per capita recorded from any epidemic before and since. And it's the highest number of deaths recorded from any war, any natural disaster. None of these ever come close. The word for today is dignity, which means the state or quality of being worthy of honor or respect. If I may, I'd like to repeat that. Dignity means the state or quality of being worthy of honor or respect. And for this Sunday, I will look at what happened, what transpired during the epidemic. I will speak about how we were treated and how there was an apology in 2002 with the Prime Minister at the time. And so with the apology, it's forgiven. Forgive, we must. But forget, no. We must not forget things that happened. We must not forget the memories of what transpired as we today aspire for a better tomorrow, inspired by the lessons of the events of yesteryears. Just so that I make my point clear. Forgive we must, but forget, no. We should not forget the memories of events that transpired as we today aspire for a better tomorrow, inspired by lessons learned from those events in the past, in our yesteryears. And it's not remembering, not with animosity in our hearts, but with a clarity of hindsight after learning the decisions that were made in life and death situations, as it was on the 7th of November, 1918, about 108 years ago. Once again, welcome to our broadcast, Discovering Tangaloa, broadcast on Sundays, celebrating Tangaloa, the indigenous spirit god of Samoa and the people of Moana. At this part of the program, I'd like to remind you, our young people, students, about our poem competition. It's 5 verses to the poem, and it's 4 lines to verse. And the title of the poem is Me the Samoan, Me the Samoan. And just to conjure up some ideas or some thoughts to put into the poem, these are the questions, the answer to these questions might help you put together your poem. First question is, what part of the Samoan culture do you enjoy? What aspect of the Samoa do you enjoy the most? And the second question is, how important is it to you to learn Samoan, the language? How important is it to you to speak Samoan? So these are the questions to see uh, where you rate the importance of what you think is important in our culture and also in our Samoan language. The title of the poem, Me the Samoan, and send it over to methesamoan@gmail.com. And don't forget to write your name, the school that you go to, um, and the class that you're in, and of course where you live, whether you live in Samoa or New Zealand, Australia or America or wherever, whatever country you live in, we'd like to know, because I'm going to read those poems over our program every Sunday. But while I'm waiting for your poems to come through, I'm going to be reading every Sunday a poem from the internet. And what I do is I try to find a poem that is relevant to the topic that we're talking about every Sunday. So the word for today is dignity. Dignity. And this poem is a poem for National Poetry Day. And here it is, entitled Dignity. And here's the poem. What does it mean to be asked and respected and even being seen? Do you know who I am, how I feel, or my name? Do you see me as vulnerable, old, or in emotional pain? I have a voice, I have a mind and a soul. Do you care what I think? Can you help me become whole? I am able to think, choose, and desire. Whatever I do, I aim to aspire. Be it large or small goals, they are important to me. So don't be afraid to ask, you see. With your support, your care, and your smile, I will feel valued, cared for, with a happy lifestyle. Just suppose it was you sitting here. How would you feel? Would you feel fear? Would you want people to be kind, caring, and true? People around to make time for you? Don't assume I don't understand. Please include me in decisions being planned. Greet me, acknowledge me, and know my name. Nurture and care is all I need, not blame. I need a person whom I trust and respect. Then I will know I am blessed. That is a poem that we got from the internet, and I will share it with you because it's relevant to the topic that we're talking about today, dignity. Dignity. And this part of our program, I want to share with you Samoa. This is what we used to do before. We call it in Samoa, talamotumiti. In the church, we call it talamotumiti. Children's address. They like to call it a Samoa. Once upon a time in this village, the village is not that big. It's a small village. It's small to the extent that everybody knew everybody. And whatever happened in that family, the whole village would know about it before nightfall. And so it's become such a family that everybody look out for each other, take care of each other. They share things in there, just like family. In fact, it is a family. It's a family. In this particular village, there's a blind man. And this blind man had a very weird thing that he does at night. When he goes out at night, he carries a lamp with him. So, but the people are used to it. The old and the young, they're used to it. And so it's become part of their family, become part of the village. And so whenever he walks around, and to be polite, young people don't even ask why you carry the lamp. they feel that it's intruding on his privacy, and so they don't ask. And so um, so whenever he's walking around, whether it's during the day or at night, people would look out for him, in the sense that they would see if he's walking towards somewhere where there's a piece of wood that he might trip and fall over, or there is a hole in the way where he's walking along that he might fall into, all those things. But see, he knows the village so well that he could see with his mind's eyes. He almost could read the stones and where they're laid and the trees in his mind's eyes, because he can feel. They say that when something, a sense is taken away from you, for example, your eyes, you can see through your mind's eyes. All your other senses will be so fully developed that they make up for what you're missing out on. So that's what's happening with this blind gentleman. He's seeing things through his mind's eyes. And he could almost sense who the people are, that he hears their voices and he identifies them. And that brings him close to the community and makes the community so caring for him. And then one day, the blind man felt these vibes in the village that are foreign, that are different, that he hasn't felt before. So he's going around and feeling these, it's not strong, but he can feel these vibes, negative vibes are there. And for about 3 days, and then the fourth day, he sort of sensed these vibes so close to him, and he felt that whoever has these vibes were in the vicinity of where he was walking. And then a week later, he was coming home. It was getting late at night, and he was coming home. Remember, he carries this lamp. So he went visit a friend, and he was coming home from visiting a friend late at night, carrying the lamp. And then halfway to his house, he felt these negative vibrations. It's almost in the middle of the night. And he's starting to feel these negative vibrations. And then the vibrations began to get closer and stronger, until he started hearing voices. And then he cannot pick out the voices. So he figured all the time during the day, these people where he felt the vibrations didn't speak or say anything. But now he could hear voices, and he could hear snickering, and he could hear young voices, and he could make out that they were talking about him. And they were making snide remarks about him and his lamp, that he's blind and carrying this lamp around in the middle of the night when he can't see nothing. And so he's hearing this sort of in whispers. But like I said before, all his other senses are so fully developed, he could hear a thing a mile away. That's how developed his senses were. So he walked over and he felt their presence coming closer, until he walked over and he felt these bodies standing in front of him. So he stopped right in front of him. And then he heard, I suppose, he supposes it was the leader of the pack. And he heard this young voice, this boy's voice saying, blind man, why do you walk around? You know, you're a sight for sore eyes. Why do you walk at night? Why are you even walk at night and carrying a lamp? Why do you carry a lamp? And then the blind man, after hearing what he heard before, they came to this confrontation and what they were saying about him and the snickering that came with it. So he knew how to respond, to put things at ease and to put a stop to this. So he said, you see, you're right, I am blind, I am not as fortunate as you. You've got your sight. You can see where you walk, whether it's day or night. But during the day, if you notice, I don't carry the lamp. I only carry the lamp at night. And you ask why I carry it at night? It's not for me, as you're asking. Why do I carry a lamp when I'm blind and can't see? What's the purpose of the lamp? Okay, let me tell you. I carry the lamp at night, not for me, because I can't see, but I carry the lamp for you. I carry the lamp for the people that I cross paths with at night. I carry the lamp so that people like you won't bump into me. I carry the lamp so if you have any compassion in you, you will direct me and navigate me away from where I could hurt myself in the path that I am taking. Maybe there's a hole on the where I'm going. You can direct me another way so I won't fall into the hole. If there's a lump of wood on the way that I'm progressing, you would stop me and help me come away from there so I won't trip and fall over myself. So you see, I carry the lamp, not for me, for you. So if you'll excuse me, and you could feel a shuffle, that means the boys have parted ways, and then you walk forward. He walked for a few yards, and the boys stood there, dumbfounded, feeling so small. And after hearing what the old man said, the blind man said, they felt so remorseful and compassion for him. So without saying a word to each other, they all sort of went over and followed, tried to get to the blind man. And the blind man felt that they were following him. So he stopped. He stopped and waited for what they were going to do. But they walked over and then stopped behind the blind man. And now they're looking at the back of the blind man, who is looking ahead, the path where it leads to his home. And the young boy said, the same voice, presumably the leader of the pack. He said, "Sir, we are very sorry, and please forgive us. Please forgive us for being disrespectful. Please forgive us for not being mindful of people with challenges. And please forgive us for being such silly children. Would you forgive us?" And the blind man, not turning around, still his back to the boys, he said, "I will. I already have forgiven you, but I will not forget what happened here tonight. Because forgiving is great, but forgetting is not good, because I need to remember this moment. So when it happens again, I will recall this moment and I know how to respond. And hopefully respond the same way I responded to you, and you see the response back from you. It's so positive. That's why I will never forget this moment of what happened. And especially you boys apologizing and asking and looking for forgiveness. So again, if you don't mind, excuse me, it's getting late. Good night. And all the boys says, "Good night, sir, good night." And you want us to walk you home? It's just, no, it's okay. I know my way. I don't need this lamp to show me. I just need this lamp for what I told you. And they all sort of laughed. And the boys went their way, and the blind man went home, full of cheer, because he met a challenge on the way, and he responded in such a manner that he was appeased, not only for him, but for the boys as well. So that's our whangongo for today. Beautiful story, beautiful. We're going to play our song as usual. There's a song about Lawaki. You all know, and it's Lawaki Ilangona Pea Siowi Uleo. What's the Uleo of Lawaki? Lawaki saying, E o mai lo woti ele po vea seisi la usa. Yeah. And yes, also. That's our song. And that brings us to our word for today. The word for today is dignity. Dignity. What does the word dignity mean? Dignity. Dignity means the state or quality of being worthy of honor or respect. Dignity means the state or quality of being worthy of honor or respect. So dignity plays a part in perception, how people perceive you. If you are worth, if the state and the quality of your being is worthy of my respect and me paying homage and honor to you, that is dignity. Dignity is your perception of me if my state and the quality of my person is worthy of your honor and your respect of me. That's very interesting because the story, the children's address, the children's Tufangongo, talks about this blind man carrying a lamp with him at night. He is being open to who he is and what he is. He is saying, I am physically challenged. I am handicapped. I am blind. I cannot see. But instead of saying to help me, he's saying to the people that normally physically challenged people would ask for help and assistance. But he says instead of wearing the lamp, carrying the lamp, to say to the people to help me and this, he's holding the lamp to tell the people not to bump into him. You get the shift of the whole thing here. He's not asking for help. He's asking for recognition of his condition and be mindful of it. So it's you responding to me. I'm not asking for you to help. I'm asking you of where I am so you can see me with dignity. Accept me for who I am. Accept me for what I am. That's what this lamp is that the blind man is given. Dignity. Dignity. You know, this what happened in 1918 on the 7th of November, about 3-4 weeks ago, over a century ago, is the bringing of the deadly influenza, Spanish flu, to Samoa from abroad, from New Zealand. There is a certain relationship, close relationship between New Zealand and Samoa and all the other islands of Moana, all the people of Moana. There is a closeness about it. And I know where that closeness comes from. It's because the First Nation people of New Zealand are Maoris. They are Polynesians just like us. They are Moana people just like us. They have that indigenous mana just like us. And that's where the connection is. And so they've got the mood, they've got the idea. And so they started the conversation saying that we feel like we are the big brothers to all the nations, to the island nations of Moana. And when New Zealand says that, it's very close to our hearts. Or Tonga, Fiji, Vanuatu, Samoa, all the islands we feel close because that's how we see New Zealand. Not only because it's bigger, it's a bigger country, but because there's so much resources, unlike the little islands of Moana. So when New Zealand says that we are the big brother to all the islands of Moana, we accept it. And we liked it because that's how we view New Zealand. That's how we see their lamp. And also we carry the lamp that tells New Zealand that we are your small brothers, so we are family. But when we revisit occasions such as 1918 on the 7th of November, and the ship coming in, bringing this deadly virus that killed many people, then this brotherhood thing becomes questioned. People, it's questionable the validity of this brotherhood stuff. Would a big brother do this to his younger brother? If there's something, there is favoritism here, because when the ship came to Fiji, they had the yellow flag flying, which means the ship is quarantined. Nobody's to come on board. Nobody will come from on board onto Fiji. So they were mindful of that. So that's the big brother attitude. That's good. That's how it should be. But what happened to the big brother when he came to Samoa, his other younger brother? Well, the flag wasn't flying. That tells the people on land, everything is hunky-dory, everything is okay. And so there was hardly any questions asked, I suppose, according to records online. And then when the boat came to Samoa, it was an open house. People came from the boat ashore. Sailors, passengers, they had the free hand to go Samoa, unlike what happened when they were in Fiji. These are the things that make Tangaroa tradition question these things of the big brother. Favoritism of Fiji. But I think Tangaroa tradition has struck a chord here, because Fiji is the hub of the Pacific region. Everything that comes from overseas, whether it be America, England, or wherever, it lands in Fiji. And from Fiji, it disperses to all the other islands of Oceania. So Fiji is like the pivotal point of whether it's economy, health, education, all the things that come into the region enters through. This is the hub of Fiji. And Tangaroa tradition is thinking, maybe that's why it was quarantined, because Big Brother has an interest in his little brother in that regard, economy. And so the epidemic hit Samoa. Couple of occasions that I want you to know was the fact that this could have been avoided. This could have been avoided. And there are justifications to that statement, because American Samoa did not suffer the consequences that we here in Samoa did, because the governor at the time, his name was Governor Poya. Governor Poya would not allow a boat, a canoe, anybody swimming from anywhere to come into American Samoa. That's how strict he was. That's how staunch he was, because he knew how deadly this disease was, because it's all over the world. Everybody, the news was out. This is at the end of the First World War. So it started from there, and sailors and army soldiers were going home. Some of them had this. So all the countries were very protective and were aware of what was going on. And yet, the boat that had the virus was given a free hand when it landed in the sea. What kind of lamb? This name, the guy that was, his name is Logan, this New Zealand man. The lamp he was wearing, he was carrying, like the lamp that the blind man was carrying. It wasn't a good lamp. It reflected a very poisonous light. And it's a light killed, not alighted, brought joy. Um, what happened was he sent a message. He sent a boat from a pier to Pango Pango in American Samoa, asking Governor Poya for something about administration. Um, and Poya wouldn't allow the boat to come ashore. It won't even allow it to come into the international waters of American Samoa. So when that news and that boat went back and gave the news to this, and gave it to him, it bruised his ego. It cracked his ego so much that he hated this boy, governor in American Samoa. So later when Poya heard about what was going on, and then he tried to contact Logan and offer him, he's got the antidote, he's got the medicine, he's got everything to help cure the epidemic in Samoa. But because of a bruised ego of this Logan fella, and he sat there and never accepted. Poya tried to contact, but there was no connection because he wouldn't reply. Attitude, dignity. Dignity is a state or quality of being worthy of honor and respect. According to this Logan, he didn't think Samoan lives were worthy of honor and respect. To tell you the truth, this is something we don't want to talk about, but it's something we need to talk about. Because as the blind man said to the boys, forgive I will, forget I won't. Because I need to keep it in the back of my mind. So when this happens again, I will know how to respond and I will know what to do. So that circumstances are resolved peacefully. So we must not forget this. Look at the Jewish people. They will not let the world forget about what happened. They will not let the world forget, and rightfully so. Helen Clark came over and apologized in 2002. Over 30% of the population were killed, but it could have been avoided. It could have been avoided. This is all part of, it's not as bad now. This is all part of this colonizing mindset of white people. And as one Samoan academic said, the colonization is still here. We are still being colonized, but in a different manner, in a different aspect. But the colonization is still happening. Colonization is born from a mindset that our state and quality of being worthy and honor and respect is not there. Dignity. And that's the story we need to speak. And that's the story we need to take out there. There's a story about, a true story, about a lady in the very early stages of the migration of Samoans to New Zealand. This lady went over and got a can of corned beef, opened it, and took it to the CEO of the Bisupo factory in New Zealand. And when she went in, she asked the CEO, do you know what this is? He says, yes, it's our product. And so she opened the can and gave it to him. He says, oh, okay, go ahead, eat it. It's your product, eat it. And the Palangi fellow says, no, I don't eat it. And then this lady says, then why do you sell it to my people? Why do you take it to my people? Something that you do not eat because you know it's not good for you. Why are you selling it to my people? It's a true story. And now we know that Pisupo is one of the most diabetic-friendly foods that we enjoy, but it's killing. Diabetes is the #1 killer in Samoa. And that's why this lady took this can of Pisupo, and that's the kind of lamp we need to carry, that this lady had. Not scared to speak up and speak out. So we can't do anything about their lamp. That's their lamp. They can light it, hoist it, and we cannot do anything, but we can do something about our lamp. We can put a lamp, carry a lamp to say that we are proud of what we bring to the table in New Zealand. I mean, in sports, the All Blacks are up there because of the children of Mona. That's a kind of lamp we need to be proud of what we bring and contribute to the economy of New Zealand, because we do. They are asking us to bring people to pick apples and pears and strawberries. Why? Because nobody wants to do it. So they ask us to bring, and that's what we bring, whether it's the bottom of the food chain or the top, but we are there contributing to the economy of New Zealand. And we need to say that. They need to know, they know that, but they don't want to say it. It's up to us to say it. Same as in sports. I take my hat off to the guys in the rugby league. You know, they made a change, they shifted the whole thing, and now we're playing finals with a tier 1 team in the world. So those gentlemen who started the movement of not making money the priority, but making your heritage and your nation, your home country, your #1. That's the kind of lamp that we need to carry. You have started a movement, and it doesn't have to be just sports. And that's how we experience him, that spirit, that indigenous mana, to be able to wear that lamp with pride, and that lamp to tell them that we bring something to the economy of the country. We bring something to the social fabric of the country. That's the kind of lamp we need to be. For this week, in the workplace, or on the sports field, or wherever you find yourself at work, or with your family, be mindful of the lamp of the world. It's a lamp not for you, it's a lamp to show them who you are and what you bring to the table. So from all the sons and daughters of Tangaloa here in Samoa, to all of you in the diaspora, in New Zealand, Australia, America, and to all the sons of Moana and all the Polynesian islands of Oceania. Have a blessed week, and so far, so forth.